Welcome back. In this short video, I wanted to show a couple quick examples as a refresher for solving absolute value inequalities. So first and foremost, you need to remember the rule. And the rule says if your inequality says less than, it's treated as an and statement. If it says greater than, it's treated as an or statement. So the two rules look like as follows. You would have your absolute value is less than whatever your number is. Then we rewrite it as the negative of that number is less than the junk inside the absolute value is less than the positive of that number. However, if your inequality is greater than, then you write it as an or statement. So the junk inside the absolute value is less than the negative, and the junk inside the absolute value is greater than the positive. Okay? So I've got two examples here that we're going to look at real quick just so that you can see, again, a refresher on how this works. So in this first one, the first thing that you always want to do is make sure that your absolute value is completely by itself. So it has no outer layers, no multiplications, no addition, subtraction outside of the absolute value. And in this one, it doesn't. So you need to pay attention now to your inequality. And this one would be a less than. Less than says that you are using your and, which means we are using the rule negative of the number is less than the stuff is less than the number. So in this case, my number is 4 and the stuff is 3k minus 2. So this is going to be negative 4 is less than or equal to 3k minus 2 is less than or equal to 4. Solve your inequality. So here I'm going to take this 2 and I'm going to move it both directions because the 2 is negative. To move it says I have to add. So negative 4 plus 2 is going to give you a negative 2. My sign stays the same. 3k is in the middle. And then 2 plus 4 is 6. Now I need to divide everything by 3. Since my 3 is positive, your signs stay the same. And here this ends up being negative 2/3 is less than or equal to k is less than or equal to 2. Now again, we have to do the same thing. You're going to graph your number line. So again, the left is negative infinity, the right is positive. Put your 0 in the middle, and then we're looking at a negative 2/3 and a positive 2. And here, my k value is going to fall between them, and because I have the equals, it means there are going to be brackets. So I'm going to put my brackets, and my brackets are going to face each other, and I'm going to shade everything in between. Now, that being said, I also need to write its interval notation. So again, the interval looks just like the graph. We're going to start with a bracket. We're going to put negative 2/3 there. We're going to travel up to 2, and we're going to include it with a bracket. Alright, let's look at the other one. Here again, if you look at your absolute value, notice there is nothing with it. So you need to pay close attention now to your sign, and this would be a greater than sign, which is the or statement. And so the rule that we're going to use here says that the junk under my absolute value is going to be less than the negative of my number, or it's going to be greater than the positive of my number. So in this case, my number is 3/4, and then the junk inside is that. So we're going to set this up as being y over 4 plus 1/2 is less than negative 3/4, or y over 4 plus 1/2 is greater than 3/4. So we have to solve each of these separately. So the first thing that I would do is I would take this equation and I would multiply the whole thing by 4, thus removing my fraction. So here 4 over 4 cancels and leaves me with y. 4 over 2 cancels and leaves me with plus 2. My sign stays the same. 4 over 4 cancels, leaves me with negative 3. I then need to take this 2, move it to the other side. Because my 2 is positive, to move it says I have to subtract. So I end up with y being less than negative 5. Now I'm going to input my or here because I need to remember that I still have to solve the other side. With this other side, again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the entire equation and I'm going to multiply it by 4, thus making this y plus 2 is greater than 3. Again, I need to take this 2 and move it. Because it's positive, I have to subtract. So this ends up being y is greater. 3 minus 2 is 1, and so here's my inequality. Now with that, I still need to do my graph. So again, draw in your number line. I've got the negative infinity on the left, the positive infinity on the right, and I've got 0 here in the middle. I then have negative 5, and I have 1. Neither one of these are equal to, so both of them will be parentheses. My first one says y is less than negative 5, so I'm going to put a parenthesis around 5 and shade out towards my wing, or my infinity. And then y is greater than 1, so again a parenthesis around 1, and I'm going to shade out towards my infinity. To write its interval says, again, I'm going to start at the negative infinity, I'm going to travel to negative 5, then I'm going to take a break, then I'm going to start again at 1 and travel to the positive infinity. Alright, so there you have it. That is everything that you need to remember about solving absolute value inequalities. So as long as you remember the 2 rules for or and, you should have absolutely no problems. So I hope you enjoy, sit back, relax, and I will see you next time.